Finally, some of the time what the challenge is going to be to make sense of our biology is recognizing stuff that we do that simply has no precedent at all out there in the animal world. And let me give you an example of this, a very shocking example from the standpoint of any other species. Okay, we've got this human couple. They're together, they come home at the end of the day, their work day, they talk about how their day was, they have dinner, they talk some more, they go to bed, they make love, they talk some more, they fall asleep. They then do the same exact thing the next day. They come home from work, they talk, they have dinner, they talk some more, they go to bed, they have sex, they talk some more. They do this every single day for a month running. Giraffe would be disgusted by this. There are hardly any other species out there that have sex for non-reproductive reasons day after day, and we're the only species that talks about it afterward. And when you look at that, when you look at linguistic use, language use, when you look at certain aspects of our sexual behavior, when you look at this very pathological propensity of some humans to confuse sexuality and aggression, you are on turf there that is completely novel. There are no other species out there doing stuff like that. So as we begin to approach this course, what we will have to do is expand our notion of what counts as normal human behavior, how sometimes it is just like any other animal out there, sometimes this unique way in which we use typical physiology, sometimes the ways in which we behave for which there's no precedent out there at all. These will be our challenges. We will start off on the level of how one single brain cell, a neuron, goes about its business, how one neuron communicates with another one, a pair of neurons, and then beginning to work our way up. How do small clusters of neurons work? How do large networks in the part of the brain very relevant to emotion, to behavior, and then finally expanding from there into how our nervous system can regulate how every cell down to our big toe works in our bodies. And throughout that section of neurobiology, we will have two themes throughout. The first one is to understand why one individual's nervous system works differently from another's, individual differences. The other will be to study how all of this function can change over time. Plasticity, that's the jargon used in the field, how very little of this neurobiology is set in stone. What that sets us up for are all of the subsequent lectures asking what are the things that change how that nervous system works? What are the things working our way back in time? Things in the environment. How do hormones affect the nervous system? Early experience, fetal life, genetics, evolution. How do all of those wind up producing behaviors coming out at the other end? That will take us through the first 19 lectures. What we will then do is try to approach an actual set of human behaviors, try to approach it with this whole set of strategic sort of ideas here, this business of starting off looking at the behavior and then moving backwards. What's the neurobiology of it? What's the environmental factors that changes the neurobiology, all the way back to where did these behaviors evolve from? And we will focus on is an immensely contentious area of human behavior, and arguably the single most important one to understand biologically. Where does violence come from? Where does aggression come from? This will both be a vehicle for understanding how to integrate these different approaches, as well as give us insight into an area of behavioral biology which we better get a whole lot of insight into if we want to survive as a species. So that will be our general strategy for the course, and probably now finishing up before we start, we should probably all raid the refrigerator. So given that, we will pick up in the next lecture starting off with how does a single brain cell go about its business.